The world, so vast and indifferent, often demanded a woman's worth be measured by the approval of others, a cruel metric that left so many of us adrift, longing for a shore that would never appear. I had lived in that vast, indifferent world, a ghost in my own life, until the moment it shattered, revealing a truth I'd never dared to dream. My body, once a source of shame and a silent testament to my unwanted status, now held a secret, a fragile life that was mine alone. But even that, it seemed, was not enough to secure my place. When the pack elders, their faces etched with disapproval, cast me out, their words a cold, final judgment, I felt the familiar sting of rejection, a wound that had festered for years. They called me barren, a curse upon our lineage, oblivious to the burgeoning life within me, a life I fiercely protected. The ground beneath my feet was dissolving, each step an echo of my impending solitude, a descent into the wilderness where unwanted things went to disappear. My heart, a bruised and battered thing, thrummed with a desperate hope for the tiny flicker of life I carried, a hope that seemed as fragile as spun glass against the harsh reality of my expulsion. I was falling, not just metaphorically, but truly, the world tilting on its axis, my future a dark, unknown void. The air grew thin, sharp with the scent of pine and fear, as the forest swallowed me whole. Each breath was a struggle, my lungs burning, the weight of the elder's decree pressing down, a suffocating shroud. They had declared me barren, a blight, a vessel unworthy of carrying the pack's future, and in their pronouncement, they had stripped me of everything. My name, once whispered with a tenderness I barely remembered, was now a forgotten sound. My home, a small cabin on the edge of the territory, was a distant memory, its warmth replaced by the encroaching chill of the wild. The child within me, a secret I guarded with every fiber of my being, was my only solace, a tiny ember in the vast darkness. I clutched my stomach, a protective instinct surging through me, a fierce primal love that defied their cruel judgment. My vision blurred, tears stinging my eyes, not for myself, but for the innocent life I carried, a life that deserved more than this desolate beginning. The ground, uneven and treacherous, rose to meet me, a final crushing blow. My foot slipped, a sickening lurch, and I tumbled forward, a silent scream caught in my throat. This was it then, the end, the culmination of a life lived on the fringes, always unwanted, always alone. A gasp escaped my lips, the world spinning, a kaleidoscope of green and brown as gravity pulled me down. I braced myself for the impact, for the cold, hard earth to embrace me in its unforgiving grip. But the impact never came. Instead, a sudden searing heat enveloped me, a powerful embrace that halted my fall, suspending me in midair. My eyes, wide with shock, met a pair of molten gold, intense and ancient, a gaze that pierced through my despair, seeing not my weakness, but something else entirely. His scent, an intoxicating blend of cedar, smoke, and raw power, filled my senses, grounding me even as my world spun. He was here, an impossible presence in my moment of utter despair, his arms a steel cage around me, holding me aloft. The Alpha King. The legend spoke of him in hushed tones, a formidable ruler, powerful beyond measure, his territory stretching further than any other. I had only ever seen him from a distance, a fleeting glimpse of a shadowed figure, a force of nature. Now he held me, his touch both gentle and firm, a paradox that defied my understanding. His eyes, those golden pools, held a depth of emotion I couldn't decipher, curiosity, concern, something akin to recognition. He lowered me slowly, carefully, until my feet touched the soft earth, but his hands remained on my waist, a silent claim. Mine, he rumbled, the single word vibrating through my very bones, a declaration that echoed with an ancient power. It wasn't a question or a request, but an undeniable truth, spoken with the authority of a king and the certainty of a fated mate. My breath hitched in my throat. Mine. The word, once so foreign, now resonated deep within me, stirring something long dormant, a sense of belonging I had never known. He stepped back then, but his gaze never left me, a silent promise hanging in the air. He saw me, truly saw me, not as the barren outcast, but as something precious, something worthy. The pack elder's cruel words, their harsh judgment, faded into the background, replaced by the warmth of his presence, the undeniable pull between us. This was not the end. This was a beginning. A new life, not just for me, but for the tiny soul nestled within me. A life claimed by a king. A life finally, truly, wanted. The forest, once a terrifying expanse, now seemed to hum with a new energy, a silent witness to our unexpected encounter. The air crackled with an unspoken tension, a silent conversation between our souls. He was a mystery, a force of nature, yet his gaze held a tenderness that disarmed me, unraveling the carefully constructed walls around my heart. Who, who are you? I whispered, my voice barely audible, still reeling from the shock of his sudden appearance, his audacious claim. He smiled then, a slow, mesmerizing curve of his lips that sent a shiver down my spine, a smile that promised both danger and salvation. You know who I am, little one, he murmured, his voice a low growl that resonated deep within me, a primal chord struck. I am your king, and you are mine. His words, possessive and absolute, should have terrified me, should have sent me fleeing into the depths of the forest. But instead, a strange sense of calm settled over me, a peace I hadn't known in years. It was as if a missing piece of my soul had finally found its counterpart, clicking into place with an undeniable certainty. He reached out, his large hand gently cupping my cheek, his thumb stroking my skin with a feather-light touch. The heat from his touch spread through me, a comforting warmth that chased away the lingering chill of rejection. They cast you out, he stated, his golden eyes hardening, a flash of anger I hadn't seen before. They called you barren. They are fools. His words were a balm to my wounded spirit, a powerful validation that shattered the lies I had been forced to believe. He knew. He knew about the lies, about the cruelty, and he saw past it all, straight to the truth. I am pregnant, I confessed, the words tumbling out, a secret I had guarded with my life, now freely given to this stranger, this king who had claimed me. His eyes widened slightly, a flicker of surprise, then a profound tenderness softened their golden depths. A child, he breathed, his gaze dropping to my belly, a reverence in his eyes that brought tears to mine. Our child. The pronouncement was bold, audacious, yet it felt utterly right, a truth that had been waiting to be discovered. He pulled me closer, his arms wrapping around me once more, a protective embrace that sealed our fate. No one will ever hurt you again, he vowed, his voice a fierce whisper against my hair. Not you, and not our pup. In that moment, surrounded by the ancient trees held in the arms of a king, I knew I was finally home. The journey to his kingdom was a blur of motion, a whirlwind of new sensations and overwhelming emotions. He carried me, often in his arms, sometimes on horseback, through winding forest paths and over towering mountains, his strength limitless, his protection absolute. His name was Xylo, he told me, a name that tasted of ancient power and wild, untamed lands. He spoke little, but his presence was a constant, reassuring weight, his scent a comforting anchor in the storm of my uncertainty. I learned to read the subtle shifts in his golden eyes, the tightening of his jaw, the gentle brush of his hand against mine, communicating more through silence than words. My own internal thoughts were a torrent, a constant stream of disbelief and burgeoning hope. He called it our child. Not just mine, but our child. Does he truly believe it? Can he see something in me that no one else ever has? This warmth, this sense of safety, it's a feeling I've never known. It's like the sun breaking through the clouds after a long, cold winter. But can I trust it? Can I trust him? My heart aches with the possibility, with the sheer audacity of this dream. I've always been the unwanted, the discarded, to be cherished, to be claimed. It feels like a fairy tale, too good to be true. But his eyes, they hold no deception, only a deep, abiding certainty. He looks at me as if I am the most precious thing in his world, and when he touches me, a spark ignites, a warmth that spreads through my veins, chasing away the cold ghosts of my past. I am not just a vessel for a child. I am seen. I am desired. I am mine to him. The world feels different now, vibrant, alive. The forest whispers promises of a future I never dared to imagine, but fear still lingers, a tiny, persistent shadow. Can this truly last? Can I truly be worthy of such a powerful, magnificent man? My breath catches when he glances at me, a silent question in his eyes. He sees my doubt, my vulnerability, and yet he only smiles, a slow, reassuring gesture that melts my fears one by one. He is a king, yes, but he is also a sanctuary, and I, the rejected one, am finally finding my refuge. His castle, carved into the very heart of a mountain, was a breathtaking marvel, a testament to his power and the ancient magic that flowed through his lineage. Stone walls, imbued with a soft, ethereal glow, stretched towards the heavens, and intricate carvings depicted scenes of wolves, stars, and celestial bodies. As we entered, a hush fell over the guards and servants, their eyes wide with awe and a touch of fear, but mostly respect. Xylo led me through vast halls, past tapestries that shimmered with forgotten stories, until we reached a chamber that was both opulent and comforting. A massive fireplace roared, casting dancing shadows on the plush rugs, and a four-poster bed, draped in rich fabrics, dominated the room. "This will be your sanctuary," he said, his voice softer now, devoid of the kingly authority, filled with an intimate tenderness. "No one will disturb you here. You are safe." He had seen the apprehension in my eyes, the lingering fear that still clung to me like a shroud. He understood, without me having to utter a single word, the deep-seated trauma of rejection, the constant vigilance of an outcast. He didn't just offer protection, he offered peace. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into a gentle rhythm of discovery and healing. Xylo was a constant presence, a silent guardian, his golden eyes following my every move, a quiet reverence in their depths. He brought me rare herbs to ease my morning sickness, read to me from ancient texts, and simply sat beside me, his warmth a comforting blanket against the lingering chill of my past. We spoke of little things, of the changing seasons, of the stars visible from my chamber window, and slowly, cautiously, of our child. "What do you wish for our pup?" he asked one evening, his hand resting gently on my swollen belly, a possessive tenderness in his touch. "For them to be loved," I whispered, my voice thick with emotion, the words a raw echo of my own longing. "Truly loved, for who they are." He squeezed my hand, his gaze unwavering. "They will be, unconditionally." His words were a promise, a vow that reverberated through my soul, healing wounds I hadn't even realized were still bleeding. He was teaching me to trust, not just him, but myself, to believe in the possibility of a love that was fierce and unwavering. The castle staff, initially wary, slowly warmed to me, their kindness a balm to my fragile heart. Children, small and curious, would often peek into my chambers, their innocent smiles a stark contrast to the judgment I had always known. I found myself drawn to them, their laughter a melody that soothed my anxieties, a reminder of the precious life growing within me. I would tell them stories, ancient tales of heroes and heroines, of courage and kindness, and their wide, eager eyes reflected a world of acceptance I had never experienced. My fiercely maternal instincts, long suppressed, began to blossom, a protective love that extended not just to my own child, but to these innocent souls who sought my company. I saw in their trusting faces a reflection of the purity I hoped to nurture in my own child, a world where worth was not measured by status or lineage, but by the simple goodness of one's heart. Xylo would often observe these interactions, a gentle smile playing on his lips, his golden eyes filled with a quiet pride. He saw the strength beneath my vulnerability, the kindness that had been hidden by years of rejection, and in his gaze, I found the courage to finally embrace the woman I was meant to be. This was not just a sanctuary, it was a home, a place where I was not just tolerated, but celebrated. And for the first time in my life, I felt truly seen, truly valued. The whispers began subtly, like a soft rustle of leaves in the wind, growing louder with each passing day. She is not of our blood. She is an outsider. The king has chosen poorly. The court, a den of ancient families and jealous ambition, watched me with thinly veiled disdain, their eyes mirroring the judgment I had fled. I was an anomaly, a commoner, carrying a child whose lineage they questioned. They saw my vulnerability, not my strength, my past, not my future. Xylo, ever vigilant, shielded me from their direct barbs, his presence a formidable barrier. But the insidious whispers, the cold stares, chipped away at my newfound peace, stirring the old ghosts of rejection. One evening, during a lavish feast, a particularly venomous courtier, Lady Lyra, a woman whose beauty was as sharp as her tongue, stepped forward, her voice dripping with false concern. "My king," she purred, her gaze flicking to me with undisguised contempt. "We worry for your judgment. This woman, she is not worthy to bear your heir. Her blood is weak, her spirit tainted. How can we be sure the child is even yours?" A collective gasp rippled through the hall. The air grew thick with tension, every eye fixed on Xylo, awaiting his reaction. My heart pounded against my ribs, a trapped bird desperate for escape. The old fear, the familiar sting of rejection, threatened to consume me. This was it, I thought, the moment my fragile dream would shatter, the moment he would realize his mistake and cast me aside once more. But Xylo's face, usually a mask of calm authority, hardened into a terrifying mask of fury. His golden eyes, usually warm and tender when they met mine, now blazed with an inferno of rage. He rose slowly from his throne, his towering form casting a long shadow over the trembling courtier. "Lady Lyra," his voice, usually a deep rumble, was now a low, dangerous growl, each word a hammer blow against the silence. "You question my judgment? You question my mate? You question my child?" The air crackled with his raw power, a palpable force that made the very stones of the castle tremble. The courtier, her face pale with terror, stumbled backward, her carefully constructed facade crumbling. I meant no disrespect, my king," she stammered, her voice barely a whisper. "I merely—" "Silence!" Xylo's roar echoed through the hall, silencing every breath, every heartbeat. "This woman," he declared, his gaze sweeping over the terrified court, then settling on me with a fierce tenderness that made my breath catch, "is my queen. She is the mother of my heir, and her blood, her spirit, are purer than any of you could ever hope to possess." He descended from his throne, his steps deliberate, powerful, until he stood before Lady Lyra, his shadow engulfing her. "You will retract your slander," he commanded, his voice laced with venom, "and you will apologize to your queen. Now." Lady Lyra, trembling uncontrollably, fell to her knees, her eyes wide with fear. I I apologize, my queen," she choked out, her voice barely audible. "Forgive my insolence." Xylo turned then, his gaze finding mine, a silent question in their golden depths. I nodded. A small, almost imperceptible movement, and the tension in the hall slowly began to dissipate. He returned to his throne, but his eyes never left me, a silent promise of unwavering protection. The incident, though terrifying, served as a turning point. The court, once emboldened by my perceived weakness, now understood the depth of Xylo's devotion, the ferocity of his protection. The whispers faded, replaced by a grudging respect and a newfound caution. I was no longer just the outsider. I was the king's chosen, the mother of his heir, and my place, once so precarious, was now irrevocably solidified. He defended me, fiercely, without hesitation. He saw past their cruel words, their venomous jealousy, and stood by me, unwavering. This is what it means to be truly loved, truly cherished, to have someone fight for you, to defend your honor, to see your worth when others try to diminish it. My heart swells with a gratitude so profound it brings tears to my eyes. He called me his queen, not just his mate, but his queen. This is a transformation I never dared to dream of, a journey from the unwanted outcast to the revered consort. The weight of their judgment, the sting of their words, it still lingers, a faint echo, but it is overshadowed by the brilliance of his love, the strength of his protection. I am not alone anymore. I am not just carrying a child. I am building a family, a legacy. And with him by my side, I am not afraid. He is my protector, my king, my sanctuary. And I am his. This is the truth that echoes through my soul, a truth stronger than any lie, any doubt, any fear. The moon hung full and heavy in the night sky, casting a silvery glow through my chamber window when the first pangs began. A dull ache, a tightening sensation that quickly intensified, stealing my breath. It was too soon. Far too soon. A wave of panic washed over me, cold and sharp, as I clutched my swollen belly, a silent plea escaping my lips. No, not yet. Please, not yet. Xylo, ever vigilant, was by my side in an instant, his golden eyes wide with concern, his strong hand gripping mine. "What is it, my love?" he asked, his voice laced with a raw fear I had never heard before. "The pup?" I could only nod, tears streaming down my face, the pain now a searing agony that consumed me. He roared for the healers, his voice echoing through the silent castle, a primal cry of anguish and fear. The healers, ancient women with wise eyes and gentle hands, rushed in, their faces grim as they examined me. Their whispers were like sharp daggers, cutting through my haze of pain. "Too early. The child is too small. We may lose them both." The words were a death knell, a cruel twist of fate that threatened to snatch away the one thing I had fought so hard to protect. Xylo stood by me, his face a mask of agony, his hand never leaving mine, his presence a lifeline in the storm. He poured his strength into me, a silent transfer of power, his love a shield against the encroaching darkness. "You will not lose them," he vowed, his voice fierce, unwavering, even as his own fear flickered in his eyes. I will not allow it. The night was a blur of pain and desperation, a battle waged in the quiet confines of my chamber. The healers worked tirelessly, their chants and poultices a desperate attempt to stem the tide. But the contractions grew stronger, more frequent, and the fragile life within me seemed to falter. Xylo, his face etched with worry, paced the room like a caged beast, his golden eyes never leaving me. He spoke to me in soft whispers, recounting stories of our future, of the child we would raise, of the life we would build. His words a lifeline in the swirling darkness. Our pup will have your kindness, he murmured, his voice thick with emotion. Your strength, your fierce loyalty. They will be beautiful, inside and out. And they will know nothing but love. His words, a tender promise, a vision of a future that seemed to slip further and further away, pierced through the pain, reaching the deepest parts of my soul. I clung to them, to his unwavering belief, to the fierce love that flowed between us, a desperate anchor in the raging storm. As the night wore on, the pain became unbearable, a consuming fire that threatened to engulf me. I felt myself slipping, drifting away, the edges of consciousness fraying. But then a sudden blinding flash of light erupted from within me, a warmth that spread through my entire being, chasing away the cold grip of despair. A deep, resonant hum, an ancient melody, filled the room, and the air shimmered with an unseen power. Xylo gasped, his eyes wide with awe as he witnessed the impossible. My body, once a source of rejection, now pulsed with a potent, undeniable magic, a power that flowed from the life within me, a power that defied all known laws. The child, my precious child, was not just a pup, but a beacon, a source of ancient, untapped magic. This was the transformation, the true revelation of my worth, not just to him, but to the world. The surge of magic was overwhelming, a torrent of raw, untamed power that flowed through me, invigorating every cell, every fiber of my being. The pain, once all-consuming, receded, replaced by a profound sense of strength, a connection to something ancient and boundless. My body, once frail and vulnerable, now hummed with an ethereal energy, a radiant glow emanating from within. The healers, their faces a mixture of awe and terror, stumbled backward, their remedies rendered useless in the face of such raw power. Xylo, however, did not flinch. His golden eyes, filled with a primal understanding, met mine, and in their depths I saw not fear, but a profound reverence, an unspoken recognition of the true magic that resided within me. Our pup, he breathed, his voice a reverent whisper. They are a gift, a true gift. The light intensified, swirling around me, a protective cocoon, and I felt the final powerful surge. A cry, small and fragile yet impossibly strong, pierced the silence, a sound that resonated with the ancient hum of magic. Our child, a girl. Her skin, impossibly soft, glowed with a faint iridescent light. Her eyes, when they opened, a startling shade of violet, reflecting the magic that coursed through her tiny veins. She was perfect, more than perfect. She was a miracle, a testament to a love that defied all odds, a love that had transformed me from the rejected outcast into a vessel of extraordinary power. Xylo gathered us both in his arms, his face streaked with tears, his heart overflowing with a joy so profound it seemed to fill the entire castle. "My queen," he murmured, pressing a tender kiss to my forehead. "My beautiful queen, you are magnificent. And our daughter, she is the most precious thing in all the realms." His words, spoken with such earnest devotion, resonated deep within me, echoing the truth I had finally embraced. I was no longer the unwanted, the discarded. I was a mother, a queen, a woman imbued with a magic that had been dormant, waiting for the right moment, the right love, to awaken. The world, once so vast and indifferent, now felt intimately connected, a tapestry woven with threads of magic, love, and destiny. The scars of rejection, though still present, were now overshadowed by the brilliance of acceptance, the profound joy of being truly seen, truly loved, truly home. The years that followed were a testament to the transformative power of love and acceptance. Our daughter, Lyra, grew into a vibrant, powerful young woman, her violet eyes sparkling with the ancient magic that flowed through her. She was a living embodiment of our love, a bridge between two worlds, a queen in her own right. The court, once so quick to judge, now revered me, their respect earned not by fear, but by the undeniable strength of my spirit and the unwavering love of my king. I, the once rejected outcast, found my voice, my purpose, in the heart of a kingdom that had embraced me as its own. I worked tirelessly alongside Xylo, advocating for the vulnerable, ensuring that no child, no woman, would ever experience the pain of rejection I had endured. Our kingdom flourished, a beacon of compassion and justice, built on the foundation of unconditional love. Xylo, my king, my protector, remained my constant, his golden eyes still holding that fierce tenderness, that profound reverence for the woman I had become. We communicated not just through words, but through glances, through shared silences, through the unspoken language of two souls irrevocably intertwined. He would often find me in the castle gardens, watching Lyra play, her laughter echoing through the ancient stones, and he would simply hold me, his warmth a comforting embrace. "You were always meant for this, my love," he would whisper, his lips brushing my hair. "To be seen, to be cherished, to be loved. You just needed someone to see it." And I would lean into his embrace, a profound sense of peace settling over me. He had seen past my scars, past the world's judgment, to the true worth that lay within. He had claimed me, not just before I hit the ground, but before I even knew I was worth claiming. And in his love, I had found not just a home, but myself. The journey from isolation and rejection to recognition and romantic fulfillment was complete, a testament to the healing power of genuine connection, a love that transcended all boundaries, all expectations, all fear. My life, once a silent testament to my unwanted status, was now a vibrant symphony of love, purpose, and unwavering belonging.